Good afternoon, parents. We appreciate you taking the time to spend this hour with us on a Saturday. My name is Ramya Modukuri, and I'm the Director of Future Pathways for the International Schools Partnership, a global group of 81 schools with three schools here in India.
Have a great Saturday, everybody.
I have been a college and career counselor for over 5 years at a Cambridge school, helping A level students apply to universities worldwide for a variety of majors, and now lead a team of counselors who work to do the same. This session is part of a series of webinars to help parents such as yourself understand the Cambridge system and how it helps students for life beyond school. We kicked off this session in December and have conducted two sessions, one called Ready for the Future and one called Unlocking Potential, the recordings for which will soon be available on Cambridge's YouTube channel. In today's session, we will go over how Cambridge qualifications can be used for higher education worldwide. We will cover both India and a few popular destinations worldwide and point you towards resources to find out further. Before starting, some housekeeping. There is a Q&A box. Please type in all your questions there. We will try to answer all the common questions, but might not get to all of them due to time constraints. For the Q&A session, I will be joined by Ms. Shamim Chowdhury, who works closely with universities in South Asia to make sure that Cambridge qualifications are recognized and accepted. Before we begin, we would like to understand what grades your children are in so that we can try to some extent, especially in the Q&A part, to make our answers more relevant to the age groups that we have with us today. So please go to menti.com or scan the QR code and please type in the code that you see at the top of the screen, 82799931. And please select one of the three options. If you have children in multiple grades, it should allow you to select multiple grades. I will give you a moment. Those of you who are just joining us as we are waiting for this, please do go to menti.com or scan the QR code and type in the code 82799931. And please take a moment to fill in the survey. It is important for us to understand who's joining us today so that we can, to the extent possible, address that age group a bit more directly with respect to this topic. Okay, I think we have a directional indicator. I think, thank you to those of you who have taken the time to put it in. I think the majority of parents joining us today, not surprisingly, is grade 9 and 10 and also 11 and 12, almost in equal parts. So we will keep that in mind as we go through this session today. At this point, you're all familiar with the term VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Not only is the world as a whole rapidly changing due to advancements in technology and other factors, workplaces are changing even more rapidly across three core dimensions. Automation and AI are changing how we work. Crowdsourcing and the gig economy are changing who does the work. Increased connectivity and a post-COVID resetting, along with an increase in Gen Z workers with a different work-life mindset, is changing when and where we work. Given these rapid shifts, according to the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs 2023 report, 44% of the core skills that workers need are expected to change before the turn of the decade. So half of the skills we use today to do our jobs are going to change. What does all this mean for our children? It means that the skills required to be successful in this volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous future are different from what we may be used to as core skills to succeed in the world of work. According to the World Economic Forum and other reports from McKinsey and Deloitte, there are a few core skills that regularly feature as top skills of the future. Here you can see on the here you can see on the slide are the top 5. Analytical and creative thinking, resilience, flexibility and agility, motivation and self-awareness. And to me, this should be the number one skill, really, curiosity and lifelong learning. Universities also look for similar attributes in their undergraduate students. They want knowledgeable students with good learning habits who are passionate about the discipline that they're studying, able to apply their understanding to new questions and contexts. A study conducted by Cambridge Assessment Research Division interviewed admissions officers and academic tutors from a number of universities in a wide range of subjects and identified these 10 competency areas shown here on the left. Cambridge conducts and uses studies like these to actively tailor their curriculum, excuse me, to impart these qualities in their students, leading to the key learner attributes, which are confidence, responsible, reflective, innovative, and engaged in their learning. Cambridge also works closely with universities to make sure Cambridge qualifications develop the skills and knowledge that students need to succeed at university. And you can see that these attributes are indeed evident in Cambridge students once they head to university. In a survey of higher education admissions tutors at the world's leading universities, almost all of them said that Cambridge programs give students excellent preparation for university. Look at the skills and attributes they talk about here: independent and logical thinking, reasoning, communication, all skills that are in our learner attributes and are also fundamental essential skills of the future. This is the reason why Cambridge qualifications are not just recognized, but highly valued by universities all around the world, including here in India. Before we talk about recognition of the qualifications in different countries, we would like to take a minute to explain the structure of the qualifications and some of the terminology we will be using in this presentation from this point on. This is more relevant for the 9th and 10th grade parents joining us. So the pyramid on the left shows the Cambridge program structure from primary to the advanced level, that is from ages 5 through 19. Today's focus will mainly be on the orange and red sections here, the ones that say Cambridge Upper Secondary or IGCSE and Cambridge International AS and A levels, which is 11th and 12th. IGCSEs are the qualifications or exams taken at the end of 10th grade, similar to the national board exams for 10th year in India. Advanced level qualifications are the equivalent of 12th grade board exams in India, but are divided into two components: advanced subsidiary or AS level and advanced or A levels. Unlike the national curriculum, the AS and A level exams are both board exams. Typically, AS exams are taken at the end of 11th grade and A level exams are taken at the end of 12th grade. But students also have the option to take both the AS and A level exams for subjects at the end of 12th grade. Typically in India, students study 3 to 5 AS levels, including English in 11th grade, and 3 A levels plus AS level English in 12th grade. This is because AS level English is considered the equivalent of 12th grade English from the Indian boards. Cambridge A level qualifications are accepted worldwide. Advanced level in 3 subjects, so 3 A levels, can meet undergraduate entry requirements of universities in most countries. In some countries, even the advanced subsidiary or AS level and Cambridge IGCSE are sufficient to meet university entry requirements. Cambridge has a very comprehensive recognition sections on their website that you can visit by scanning the QR code shown here. On that site, there are guides and advice for individual countries that are popular destinations like the US, UK, and Australia, and so on, as well as a detailed recognitions database search that lists specific details for individual institutions within each country. Before we get into individual destinations, let us pause and try to understand what your aspirations are for your child. Please visit menti.com once more. Use the same code. Please give me a minute to begin the Menti, and please do answer the questions. Your Menti should now be reflecting the new questions. Please do let us know. So please enter the top 3 destinations that you are thinking of for your child's higher education post 12th grade. We are expecting that a number of you, and this is not just for foreign destinations, we are expecting that a number of you, if not all, would be considering India as one of the destinations as well. Wow, thank you so much. This is great participation. Okay, so it looks like, and probably unsurprisingly, India is the largest destination that the group here, our audience here, is considering today. And US, and I would say Okay, there's many, we didn't standardize it. So there's US, USA, United States of America, America, North America. So I'm guessing US is a very strong also destination, which is also to be expected. And I think Canada and UK and Australia are among the others that look interesting. Okay, this is fantastic. I think, Shamim, perhaps you can actually, I request you to please take a little screenshot of this. This is very interesting for us to see because some of these smaller destinations, I think, like New Zealand, Japan, Ireland, Finland, we will get to those as well. There are those guides as well on the recognitions website. Okay, I will move on, but thank you so much to everyone who has and is continuing to participate in the Menti. So, given that India was one of, we will be spending significant time on India and the US, which were the two largest destinations we saw from the word cloud earlier as well. Let us start with India. So, the Association of Indian Universities recognizes Cambridge A levels as the equivalent of 10 plus 2 qualifications. And this being the apex governing body, this means that Cambridge qualifications are recognized by all the institutions under this umbrella, including all central and state universities, private universities, and all national entrance exams, NEET, JEE, CUET, CLAT, NATA, and so on. So, there should be no issues at all in terms of the recognition of Cambridge qualifications. Now, in terms of the specific requirements, what does equivalence mean? It means that a student has to have passes in 5 IGCSE subjects, including English language in 10th grade, plus passes in 3 A-level subjects in 12th grade. While 3 A-levels are sufficient for most universities, there are some additional factors to keep in mind. For the JEE, you will need 4 A-levels plus AS level English. For NEET, 3 A-levels plus AS level English. Since Cambridge offers tremendous flexibility in the subjects you can choose for A-levels, it is important to understand that the requirements for individual universities, degrees, and entrance exams can vary. So subject selections in for A-levels should be done accordingly. The QR code that you see here on the bottom right can be used, can be scanned and will take you straight to the page for India recognitions. If we look at the Indian system of higher education, the entry method can broadly be classified into 3 categories. The first is universities that use competitive entrance exams like your JEE and NEET. Universities that use marks, 12th grade mark cutoffs. And the third is new private universities that use a holistic evaluation approach to admissions. Let us take the first category, those that use competitive entrance exams. There are a few things to keep in mind with entrance exams and the Cambridge curriculum. As we mentioned, the qualifications are accepted without any issues. In terms of the preparation, which is where majority of parents may have concerns, because of the specialized nature of these exams, it is a reality that regardless of the curriculum, most students will need some extra support in tackling these exams. For NEET and JEE, which are the most popular entrance exams, which are aligned with the NCERT, the depth, rigor, and problem-solving capabilities that Cambridge instills in students goes a long way towards helping children prepare for these exams. Now, there is a myth that if you are taking if you're taking Cambridge qualifications, A levels, and then it doesn't prepare you necessarily well to tackle the Indian entrance exams. I would like to refute this with an example that I have put together with the help of a very senior physics teacher from one of our schools who has worked as a coach at an entrance exam coaching center and now works at an A-level school helping students with their Cambridge qualifications as well as with some of the JEE preparation. So this is an example from thermal physics to illustrate the similarities and how Cambridge helps. On the left is a question from JEE Mains 2019, and on the left, a very similar question from A-levels in 2018. So when we look at A-levels physics, so as you can see, I'm not going to go into the details because I myself am not deeply familiar with physics. But the questions are along very similar lines, as you can see, right? It asks for the amount of work done. And on the right, it is a very similar graph asking you to calculate the amount of energy expended doing the same thing, a similar thing. So the points to be made are these. When we look at A levels physics versus the physics needed for JEE mains, the fundamental concepts covered are the same: classical mechanics, electromagnetism, thermal physics, modern physics. The treatment of the concepts in physics are also mostly at the same level, algebra based. JEE physics does use some calculus, but that does get covered in A level math. And typically, a student looking at engineering in India has to have A level math as well. They will typically be taking A levels math, physics, and chemistry. The treatment of concepts in, the span of the topics is also mostly the same, with some differences to be noted. ASA levels touches on topics like astrophysics, medical physics, etc., which are more helpful for those wanting to pursue pure sciences, which often is a point of consideration even for engineering aspirants. There is more weightage on thermal and mechanical properties of matter in JEE, in line with the needs to pursue engineering. The skill to design and analyze experiments is noticeably better picked up from A levels, which are essential to succeed once you are in engineering college. The skill to understand and arrive at a solution in the shortest time is tested in JEE, while fundamentals are thoroughly tested in AS-A levels. The bottom line is JEE is an elimination exam and A levels are qualification exams. And irrespective of the curriculum that you take in grade 11 and 12, the preparation simply cannot be the same. But going back and reiterating this point that the rigor and depth of understanding of the fundamentals is very thorough in ASA levels, which helps students not just in clearing JEE mains, but then JEE advanced, which is very much in depth and rigorous, followed by actually succeeding in engineering and in the workplace beyond. The second category that we had discussed was universities that use a cutoff system, and there it is pretty straightforward, so we will not dwell on that. The third category of universities are the newer private universities that have come up in India in the last decade to 15 years. These universities use a holistic approach to evaluating candidates for admission. They look not only at your grades, but at your extracurricular activities, leadership traits, and most importantly, at your context. They understand, for example, that a first generation student in an under-resourced school in a rural area getting 80% in a board exam is a lot more impressive than the same 80% from a student with educated parents attending a well-resourced school in a tier 1 city. In the same vein, these universities have outreach and admissions officers who take the time to understand different schools, different curricula, and have an appreciation for the high rigor offered by the Cambridge curriculum. To acknowledge this, some of them are even fine with a student showing 2 A levels instead of the standard 3 A level offering, depending on the degree opted for and the competitiveness of the program and the university. But let us hear from some of our alumni now who are studying at Indian universities.
I can attribute my writing and comprehension skills to Cambridge IGCSE and A levels. I have learned to analyze and summarize well through my psychology and global perspectives courses. I have learned to write clearly and concisely with focus through English literature, history, and biology.
The Cambridge curriculum encouraged me to question and research various topics on my own.
Something different about university courses when compared to schoolwork is that there's an expectation of a background level of study. Oftentimes, you'll be expected to go back and study and look over and find resources for a topic at home, despite them going over it in class as well. This was something that was made easier for me because this was always encouraged in a Cambridge school. I believe using concepts above your grade was always accepted in Cambridge exams, and teachers always encouraged diving into topics independently.
My advice to Cambridge students who wish to apply for higher education in Indian universities is to think carefully about your A-level subject choices. The Cambridge curriculum offers a lot of flexibility in terms of the subjects one can study.
Another important thing to consider is when you take your exams. Choosing the November exam series the year before you apply or the March series the year you do apply will mean that you have your Cambridge results in hand before the Indian application processes start for college. Most colleges in India don't accept predicted grades, they require the final grades. Liberal arts universities do take the predicted grades.
While evaluating universities, consider factors such as profile of the professors, research opportunities, academic centers, study abroad programs, cultural environment, and the type of clubs and activities that are available on campus. Do seek advice from others before making it a final decision.
Oftentimes, you'll want to reach out to the admissions teams of these universities and explain to them the AS and A-level systems and see if you can proceed with your predicted grades.
Being aware of why you want to study a particular subject and what's your ultimate goal is crucial. This will help you stay focused and choose a university that aligns with your future plan.
A big thanks to both my school and my teachers. Without them, I would not have made it this far. Especially my school counselor. The school also organized some very helpful sessions individually where we would talk about the benefits of one college over the other and how to prepare for interviews.
Our school made us take 2 internships during the course of our schooling. And while those bolstered our resumes, they also gave us real-life experience in the fields that we wanted to pursue.
Starting Standard 9, my school offered weekly workshops on higher education choices. I also had a career guidance counselor at my school whom I could approach anytime.
My teachers offered personalized feedback on application material and encouraged me to refine them as much as possible to make it stronger. They also provided me with insider information on universities I was interested in and what all universities were looking in the applicants.
Studying the Cambridge curriculum has taught me to make connections between concepts throughout disciplines. I've been able to study subjects not only in one stream but across disciplines based off of my own interests, and that has helped me think along many lines. I appreciate that I've learned how to learn with an open mind instead of just amassing information.
I studied at the Cambridge IGCSE curriculum and then the Cambridge A-levels curriculum. Through all these years, I have gained strong confidence in expressing myself.
I have been lucky that the freedom I got in my schooling has continued into my liberal arts university education, and that has made me well placed to take on varied work opportunities throughout my life.
That was some of our students from the Cambridge curriculum who are at leading universities in India, private universities studying humanities and pure sciences. Here are testimonials also from students who are at engineering and medical colleges. Devin Gangwani, who is doing his BTech in IIT Kanpur, says though A-level syllabuses did not fully align with the syllabus of JEE, they provided much useful knowledge, especially in areas not covered in preparing for JEE, such as statistics. This knowledge was indeed quite useful at IIT as a background, and the knowledge it gave me was helpful in excelling at my courses since I was not starting from bare basics. And Karishma Puniwala, who is an MBA student, says, what I found truly beneficial on arrival at university was how easy it was to hit the ground running while making the transition from A-levels to my undergraduate, owing to the fact that the Cambridge program had integrated an application-based perspective that completely changed my outlook academically. I realized that my problem-solving skills outmatched those of my peers from other programs. I can confidently say that the Cambridge program has provided me with an ironclad foundation and an inquisitive mindset. We move on now to Cambridge recognition in the US, which was the second top destination that our audience, yourselves, had mentioned. So Cambridge is recognized by more than 1,000 institutions in the US. A US college degree is typically broken down into credits. In order to graduate, most universities set a requirement for a certain number of credits to be completed. And each subject that you study counts towards a certain number of credits. For example, let's say the graduation requirement is 160 credits. That may be split across 4 years as 40 credits per year. If you take 5 subjects per semester and 2 semesters per year, that breaks down into 4 credits per subject per semester. Many universities offer these credits to students for their AS and A levels exams taken in high school. That means that students from Cambridge are already entering university with a certain number of credits rather than having to start from scratch. What does this allow them to do? This allows them to potentially graduate early or add on a second major without extending the time taken to graduate from university.
So, with the US, the Cambridge curriculum is recognized by more than 1,000 institutions in the US. A US college degree is typically broken down into credits. In order to graduate, most universities set a requirement for a certain number of credits to be accumulated, and each subject that you study counts towards a certain number of credits. For example, let's say a graduation requirement for a university is 160 credits. That may be split into 40 credits per year. So if you take 5 subjects per semester and 2 semesters per year, that breaks down into 4 credits per subject per semester. Many US universities offer credits to students for AS and A level exams that they have taken in high school. So, what this means is that students from Cambridge will already be entering university with a certain number of credits rather than starting from scratch. This allows them to potentially graduate early or add on a second major without extending the time taken to graduate university. Cambridge's US Higher Ed Advisory Council advises Cambridge on matters related to recognition of their qualifications and features officials from some of the best universities in the country, including some Ivy Leagues. In the interest, because I think we have technical difficulties sharing this video, and in the interest of time, we will just move on to the next slide. And we will, if we have time, come back to this video or share a link whereby, or this is on the website. The previous video was deans of some of the top US universities like MIT talking about how they value the Cambridge curriculum, students coming from the Cambridge curriculum. In terms of the qualification requirements, the requirements are similar to what you saw for India. So 5 IGCSE subjects and 3 A levels. Of course, these are requirements that these satisfy the minimum requirements, but often the more competitive the university, you may need a few more of the qualifications, and the grades that you get in the qualifications will also will be dependent on the selectivity of the university. As we mentioned earlier, students can get academic college credits for A levels, sometimes as many as a full year's worth of credits. Since US universities need international students to show English language proficiency, the good news for Cambridge students is that IGCSE English, which they do in 10th grade, is accepted by many universities as satisfying this requirement. So, this frees the student up from taking additional tests like IELTS and TOEFL. Here is actual wording from the University of Washington, which is one of the top universities in the US and top 10 for computer science, talking about their recognition of Cambridge qualifications and the credit awarded for these. So you can see here it says 15 quarter credits will be granted for A levels exams with a passing grade, and 7.5 quarter credits for AS level exams. A maximum of 45 quarter credits are awarded for A levels and AS levels, may be awarded and may be applied towards a University of Washington degree. So that's equivalent to 1 year of credits. The UW recognizes A levels, AS level curriculum as a challenging academic program that provides excellent preparation for university study. So if any of you have doubts, and there are some myths sometimes that perhaps a different international curricula may be better than another, please rest assured that AS and A level qualifications are considered extremely rigorous by US universities. And over the past 5 years, I personally have many students at top universities who have gone there on the basis of their Cambridge qualifications. Here is Manya Bajaj, who is a former Cambridge A-level student who is now at Johns Hopkins University, also one of the top universities in the country. And she says, I was able to exhibit to universities that I went above and beyond to gain extensive knowledge in my field of interest through subjects like AdMath and further math. I felt better prepared for university as My Cambridge qualifications covered the content of what is typically taught in introductory level college courses. I received credits equivalent to an academic year's worth of university courses, giving me the flexibility to either graduate early or explore a second major. And this is a theme that we hear quite often with our Cambridge students. Moving on to the UK. Since Cambridge qualifications are modeled after the British system, it should not surprise anyone that the qualifications are not only highly regarded by the UK, but also work seamlessly in terms of submitting applications and receiving conditional offers based on 3 A levels. So they are considered equivalent to the UK GCSEs and A levels. Many universities, again, like the US, they accept IGCSE English as proof of English proficiency. And this is important for students looking at highly selective universities like Oxford, Cambridge, or very selective courses like medicine, law in the UK. There is a distinct advantage for Cambridge A level students because a lot of the entrance exams for these universities are indeed aligned with A level coursework. Again, the requirement is 5 IGCSEs and 3 A levels, and the offers are both the applications and the submission of, I'm sorry, for the UK, it works very seamlessly in terms of submitting applications and also receiving conditional offers based on the Cambridge A levels. Countries like Canada and Australia follow similar requirements to the ones we have already discussed. The Cambridge website mentioned in the slide here has detailed guides on more popular countries like Singapore, Malaysia, and so on, in addition to the ones that you see here. So we do urge you to please visit the website and go over these slides, especially if you're in 9th or 10th grade and you are debating whether to go ahead with the Cambridge curriculum for 11th and 12th. This website can be a great resource in terms of helping you understand whether Cambridge curriculum would be the right one for you based on where and what you want to do for your higher education. This is again the section of the website. We just wanted to show you there are plenty of resources. So the part which says recognition by country would be the one that you would check out, but there is also more general guidance for schools and students. And the recognition search is the database that we mentioned earlier. So just stepping back, recognition by country gives you country-wide guides and an overview of studying in that country with your Cambridge qualifications, including the requirements. Recognition search is the detailed database where you can find out what subjects are required at A levels for a particular university within that country. And I urge you to take a look at the India. For those of you looking at India, please do look at the recognition search database. It is very detailed and it lays out detailed requirements for A levels for the entrance exams, as well as some of the top public and private universities in the country. This is just general information on Cambridge. If you would like to screenshot, you can then go, or it's simply cambridgeinternational.org. With that, I would now like to invite Ms. Shamim Chaudhary, who is the Cambridge Recognitions Manager. As we mentioned earlier in the introduction, Ms. Shamim works with us, with universities in South Asia to help them understand the Cambridge qualifications and get the Cambridge qualifications accepted and recognized for the rigor they provide. So, Shamim, I will welcome you and also go over some of the questions.
Thanks, Ramya. I just saw one question from a parent, which was about course credits in the US. And I just want to explain how it works. So in the US education system, they, especially for undergraduate programs, universities look at what students have studied in high school. And if they have already studied a part of the first year university course in high school, then they get exempted from repeating the same thing in the undergraduate program. So, for example, the first year program in a university, if there are subjects and topics that they have studied, for example, there is a lot of overlap in the syllabus between what Cambridge teaches at AS and A level and universities' introductory courses. So students get exempted from studying that. And that has two very important implications for students and parents. One is the total duration of the course becomes shorter. So they save time, which they can use. Either they can choose to complete the undergraduate program earlier, or they can use the time to do a double degree. The second thing is they also save in terms of tuition fees, because in the US, students are charged per semester. Tuition fees are charged per semester. So if the student gets course credit worth a semester, they need not pay tuition fees for that semester.
No, I think you covered it really well. I think on a related note, somebody had asked, is there a list of universities which give credits for the UG programs?
While we have the browser on, I just want to explain how you can go about doing this on our website, which is www.international.org. If you just go to the website, on the top right-hand side, there is a search button.
You're able to see my screen, yes?
Yes.
The L in the Cambridge International. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you see the Google button? Just type recognition database there, and it will give you the right link.
Do I go to the first one?
Yes. So this database has a list of universities. You can just select location as USA. Location as USA. So the recognitions database, if you look for US, it will throw up a list of universities, and against each university, it will denote the universities which have credit policies. So that's how you can find which universities give credit policies.
Oh, we can even do by state.
No, just all.
Yes,
and
yes,
just
yes.
yeah. That's it. And just select AS and A level and search.
It takes a minute. Because we searched by all regions. Okay, so here you go.
So can you just stop here? So can you see on the screen, against a university, you will find it is written if they have a credit policy, and then you can go on to view their full policy. So if you use this link, you should be able to find out a list of universities. Okay, so we have another question here. Having Cambridge qualifications will make it easier in Australian universities. Yes, Abhishek, to your question, it will be easier in Australia. Our AS and A level qualifications are accepted, but in Australia there is no system of course credit. Course credit is very specific to US and Canada, so it will not apply for Australian universities. I see MS Kishan, who has a query for Germany. So may I request that you please search on our website for Germany. There is a full brochure on Germany on our website, which will give the exact entry requirements for German universities for Cambridge students. Okay, that's answered. I'll just scroll down. Required to join any college in UK in A level. Okay, in the UK, unlike India, marks and something that universities look at. So they would look at grades. So a university, depending upon the category you are looking at, there are very competitive universities like Cambridge, Oxford. They'll probably look at A-star grades in 3 subjects. But you also have universities who will take a C in 3 subjects as well. So it would depend on the kind of university that you are planning to apply. And I would suggest that you please look into the brochures that we have and the statements we have from UK universities on our website. They will more or less have the requirements. The other thing is you please look up the UCAS website, which has requirements of all UK universities. I also see
Yes, actually, just
questions.
reiterating that
Go ahead.
UCAS is the common platform for entrance for all UK universities, and it will give you the requirements. It's also a great tool for generally exploring UK universities. You can select by the major you want to study, the location, and other criteria. But generally, UK, if you go to any university's course listing and click on it, it is very clear in its requirement for Cambridge A level. So it will say Oxford CS require computer science requires A or Birmingham economics requires AAB or whatever it is, right? So you will know. And with the requirement as to whether math is needed or physics is needed or any subject requirements, they're as clear as pretty much probably clearest in any of the regions in the world, them and Australia.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thanks for saying that. So there is another question from Swati Banthia, that does choosing PCM a better choice vis-a-vis computer science, maths, chemistry, or physics? Well, there are no generic answers to such questions. But if you're looking at India, if a student wants to do engineering, then physics and maths are mandatory subjects these are mandated by AICTE. So a student who takes both physics and maths and any other third subject in the sciences, I think they are good to go for engineering, they are good to go for sciences or any other thing that they want to study.
I want to add something there, Shamim, for India. Please keep in mind that in India, Cambridge only offers computer science exams in the June series. So Cambridge offers 3 cycles per year actually, and schools may or may not have exams in all the cycles, but typically it is March series, June series, and November series. Now in India, computer science is only offered in the June series, the results of which come by middle of August. If you're taking computer science as the third subject, as your third A levels, or even your fourth A levels for JEE mains, this could be an issue because especially for the JOSA counseling, which is the counseling for IITs, NITs, and other public institutions, that counseling typically happens in mid to end of July. And during the counseling, you are expected to provide your transcripts. And so taking computer science as your third A level or for engineering, that is something to keep in mind. So please, if you have a counselor in school, talk to them. Correct, Shamim? Or am I? This could be a bit of a timing issue.
No, I'll just add. No. I'll just add something here. See, we have exams thrice a year. Okay, so the November exam series also has most of the subjects. What we see when it comes to students who are planning to do engineering in India, they typically take exams between the November exam series and the March exam series. So students can divide the subjects between 2 exams. In fact, we have had students who have joined IIT Delhi this year, that is 2023, and the student decided to take most of the subjects in November. So they finish most of the subjects in November, and they have adequate time to prepare for joint examinations. And since they take exams in November and March, all the results are available in the month of May. That is much before the deadline of what is required for joint entrance and for engineering colleges. I also
Yeah.
see another question here from Vikram Malhotra, who has a question about a cutoff date in July. I would just want you to know that please check with the school. Most we encourage schools in India to take exams in March series. Our March series exam results come out in mid of May, and that helps students to meet deadlines in India. In fact, India is the only country where we specifically run exams in March. So please do check with the school where you want to have your child study and that is offering exams in March, so that your child will not have any problem in meeting deadlines for universities in India.
There were a couple of questions about global perspectives and research. Can you shed some light on taking GP
I haven't
in terms
scrolled
of?
down.
Can you hear me, Shamin?
Yeah, I can. I can't see the question, but I'll definitely answer you. So global
No, so it was
perspectives
mainly
is
to say
actually
relevance of GP. Yeah.
okay. What is the relevance of global perspectives? See, global perspectives being an interdisciplinary subject, it is not treated as a core academic subject. But the reason universities value this subject is because of the skills that students actually gain. So I'll give you an example. Suppose there are two students with very similar results at a university. How does the university differentiate between two candidates? Then they start looking at the portfolio of the student and the kind of skills that the student is able to demonstrate through the qualifications. This is where global perspectives, and even we have a qualification called the IPQ, which is again a project-based qualification. These come into picture. So look at the skills that these syllabuses impart, and just don't go in terms of doing subjects that help a child to meet entry requirements, because meeting entry requirements is not enough. If you want your child to do well once they are in their dream college or dream university, these skills will play a very important part.
There are some questions specifically about subjects or what courses to pursue, where that is a whole other conversation. There are questions about, okay, what, okay, so do credits?
There is another question on credit from Bajit Sheikh, which says, does credits based on subject passed in A or AS level? In the US, there are several universities which will give you credit for AS level, and most universities will give you credits for A level. So the answer is a yes for both. But you have to check with the university's specific credit policies. Go ahead, Ramya, please.
Yeah, there are some questions. There's a question on SAT, ACT. I mean, these are country-specific requirements. So, we would recommend, I think there are lots of other forums and other, sessions that are being done on those. Specifically for A levels and US, if you look, it's not that, I mean, SAT and ACT are additional data points that US universities use. Many of them these days are using them as optional. So regardless of the curriculum, you can take SAT, ACT for the US, SAT or ACT for the US. And if you are happy with the score, you can submit it as an additional data point. A few universities do require them still, but that is completely, it's regardless of whether you take A levels or a different subject. It is more determined by the university itself. Right.
There is a question
do we
from
need
a
to score any
student.
particular?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it was asking, do we need to score any particular grade in AS or A levels? Maybe we answered that. It depends on the university and the So UK.
For the course credit? For the course credit?
I think one was about course credit. One was just generally, I think, for entry. One was just more general.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I see one question from a student, and I'm really glad to see a student who has joined the session, Harsh Nagda, who is doing A levels in science stream and now wants to study commerce. Harsh, I would just say that I think doing maths is something which can lead you to pursue higher education in most of the streams. I think you've done a wonderful choice in taking maths in your A levels. If you are planning to pursue business administration in your undergraduate program, you will have no problems, because for most of these courses, they will simply look at 3 A levels, and having a maths background is just going to give more, I would say, just strengthen your portfolio when you're applying to universities. So all the best to you.
Absolutely. Can we complete A levels in 1 year? Asks Dr. Mubin.
Well, it is a curriculum that is intended to be taught over 2 years. So schools will be teaching it over a period of 2 years. And in India, I want all of you to know that there are requirements in terms of the duration of study, which is done by the government. So it's a 10+2 year system of education, and that applies to even foreign qualifications. So not being able to demonstrate those number of years of schooling will be a disadvantage if you are planning to, just sit for exams, A levels. Cambridge does not have any rules, but every country has its own rules, and Cambridge schools in India will be following country specific rules. So just keep that in mind.
We are already 6 minutes above time, but there was one question which asked, what do I do if I have further doubts? So I think that maybe a student, I think one is your schools, if, should have, especially if you're doing Cambridge, I think the senior teachers and all are pretty well placed to answer any questions that you will have individually about the subjects that you need to take. If you have a school counselor, which more and more international schools do, please reach out to them. They are often, in many schools, I think students don't even realize that they have this support, but please reach out to your school counselor. They usually will be able to help you out. If you don't have a school counselor, like I said, reach out to the senior academic coordinator or anybody. This is not a plug for me, but you can find me on LinkedIn and you can reach out. I'm always, if you're a student, I'm always happy to answer your questions. Okay.
Yeah, and I would also advise that please check our website. There is every
yes,
possible information for parents and students and school. This chat on our website, which you can just go to and post your questions, and you can have a live chat to answer your queries.
Yeah. Actually, this question that just came in, Shamim, if you have a minute, we can maybe take this, because it says, my school only gives limited electives. Is there a way to do these courses, A-levels courses, online?
The rules are such that students need to do regular schooling if they're doing foreign qualifications. So a student needs to be enrolled as a full-time, so that they are meeting the local requirements of the country. There are online schools which came, but we would not recommend you to do that unless you are actually enrolled physically.
Yes, and please note there are issues with self-studying, and if you're not in a Cambridge curriculum, then self-studying and taking the exams at another school as a private candidate, it comes with a whole lot of issues for different regions, right, Shamim? So it's best if you stick to the things that are taught by your school, or alternatively find another school that does have the electives that you want.
Yeah, I think we have exceeded our time, and
yes,
we are really excited to see. And we hope, if we have not been able to answer your queries, please do reach out to Cambridge schools or get in touch with us through our customer services on our website so that we can answer most of your queries.
Great. Thank you so much, parents, for joining us. It is taking a little bit of time, but we will be sharing these recordings on Cambridge's YouTube channel, I believe, or in some, somewhere where we will be sharing it with you all in due time. And we will be having a few more of these webinars. So please stay tuned. You will be receiving those emails. So thank you very much again for joining us. And thank you so much, Shamim, for shedding so much light and patiently taking all these questions. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much. Have a great Saturday, everybody.